Take Projection.
Welcome to Check Your Shelf, the official book podcast of the Alabama Take Network. This month, I am here with my official co-host, Jennifer.
Hello.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hey, Jamie.
I'm glad you decided to come back and do this again.
I didn't get too scared.
Well, this month we've decided, because we had so much fun talking about books of the month last month, that we're going to talk about what we're going to choose this month because we're recording after the October books have dropped. So
yes, it's not even October yet, and they dropped the books.
Yeah.
I got a text from Jamie yesterday morning. It said, Jennifer, I know you're not awake yet, but the books are out for October.
It was so early. I felt so bad, but I knew it was important for you to wake up to that.
It is. It's priority. It was the best text to wake up to. I had not even had my coffee, and I already knew what book of the month I was getting. I know.
Okay, well, then you start, and you tell us which one you're going to pick.
Okay, so I actually had an opportunity, and I decided not to. I could have read this book as a advanced reader's copy. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know what that is, but people listening might not. It's like where you can read books early before they come out and review them for publishers. And I could have done that with this book, but I really just decided I wanted to experience the release of it and all that and not read it early.
Yeah.
And I had no idea it would be a Book of the Month club. And it is The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrienne Young. And it's a perfect October book because it's very like witchy and atmospheric. And like her family's under this centuries old curse. And I think it's upper YA. So I'm going to assume she's like an older teenager and she realizes it's up to her to break this curse and like tap into her witchy heritage and all of that. And so
I think sounds good.
I think it's going to be really fun. I'm excited.
That's actually my pick too. Like if I can only pick one, which I won't.
You haven't picked then yet? You haven't decided?
Well, I was just trying to narrow it down to 5. This is just terrible. But what happened was yesterday I wound up talking about this month's selection with a fellow librarian. Hey, Brooke. And the one book that I didn't want, she said was set partially in Alabama.
Which book?
The Unsettled.
Oh.
Yeah. So now everything is different and I have to go back through. So, but if I can only pick one book, it's going to be The Unmaking of June Farrow. But if I get only 2 books, I'm going to get that one in Starling House.
I really wish I hit like ship my box or whatever prematurely, I think, because I really wish I'd also added in Starling House.
Yeah.
I think that sounds really great.
I think it's going to be good. And I'm not even 100% what it's about, except it's Southern Gothic and it's a haunted house.
Gothic. And that was they're both just so good for October.
And Brooke also said that wellness is an Oprah pick. I did not know that.
Oh,
yeah.
Does Oprah tend to pick great ones?
She did back in the day. I haven't followed. I've been keeping up with Reese and Jenna.
Yeah.
Their book clubs. But I didn't even know I guess Oprah's book club still exists. It's just not as big a deal as it used to be. But okay. Well,
so we should do like a buddy read.
Yeah, we should. Hey, speaking of, one of friend of the podcast, Sedona, who was on an earlier episode, I found out yesterday, not from her, so these may be completely wrong details, but she's in a book club with 2 other people and they choose each other's books. They don't read the same book every month, but like, and then get this, fun. They annotate it, which is super nerdy. And I love that.
I love annotating.
They read the book, annotate, and then they pass the annotated copy to the next person who reads it.
To like see what stood out to them and stuff. Oh, I love that.
I do too. I thought that was really cool. I'd never heard of anything like that before.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
I like that.
So I'm going to file that away.
We should have them on.
We should
talk about it.
We should have all 3. That would be fun.
That would be fun to talk about any unique experiences they had or whatever. That would be fun.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I need to make a note of that. I love to nose into other people's book clubs. Like I don't have time to actually read the books. But I love to hear about them. So what we're going to do this month is we decided it's going to be the same format as last month. And we may actually break this into 2 parts because this month we're talking about our TBR lists, or which means to be read.
Mm-hmm.
And ours are very extensive. So
Yeah, mine's pretty long. So let me ask you, Jamie, because I know that you've been reading Holly for a while now. How many books do you think you're going to read in October? Is Holly just hard to get through?
Will I start, or how many will I finish?
How many will you finish?
2 different worlds right now. Well, I don't know. Several, because I've got a couple of things coming up where I have to have 2 completely finished. And then after going through my Goodreads for this podcast and being so ashamed, also you asking me for the second time you asked me, what are you reading? And I was like, still Holly. Like I was like, I need to catch up. I've got to finish some of these things I've got hanging.
Well, I don't judge you at all.
No, it's a mess. I know it's a mess.
You work a pretty mentally challenging job, and it demands a lot of your time. So, I mean,
well, and the other side of that too is being a librarian. I see everything that's coming out, and then I want to read it, so I start too many things.
Yeah, I don't trust your Goodreads.
No, you shouldn't.
I go on there and I'm like, nope, I'm not getting information from her Goodreads.
Yeah, and then I think I told you we went on a short vacation, and I took what was that Taylor Jenkins Reid book?
Carrie Soto?
No, the other one, the Eleanor Hugo.
Oh,
I didn't even start
Evelyn Hugo. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I didn't read a thing. I was like, I just stared.
I don't take books on trips. It's like I can't get my mind slowed down on trips. So
yeah. And also, I didn't think about it like this, but having the podcast and then being around books all the time, it just kind of it felt a little like work. Like it didn't feel like it was going to relax me at all. So
yeah, I get that.
I didn't read, but yeah, I'm back at it, and I'm going to get it. I'm getting that Goodreads cleaned up, like before the new year. It's happening because I can't live that way. I did a really good job with it at one point, and the best thing book wise that's happened for me organizationally this year is that last podcast where we decided we were going to talk about Book of the Month Club, and I had 3 months to prepare, and I went through and read a bunch of stuff, and I knew I had to finish it, so just.
Well,
my brain is a place to be.
I mean, how far are you into Holly? Pretty far?
No.
Well, maybe it's not your time right now.
Maybe it's not. Yeah. And it's good. I mean, that's what stinks is it's good. But sometimes at night, like I just have such a limited amount of time to read. Like I'm just grabbing 15 minutes here and there. Yeah. So, I feel bad. I feel like people look at my Goodreads and they're like, this author must stink because it's taken her, 3 months to read this book. And I'm like, no. It's not their fault. It's really great.
It's just your brain.
Well, and also that's why that Rebecca Makkai book that, I have a few questions for you or whatever it was that I love so much that like when I went so hard through that one so quickly, like it's always, I think, a testament. Like you can tell I really love a book if I go through it that fast.
If it's quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. So how you want to do this? You want to let's go back and forth?
Yeah. Let's do it just back and forth like we did last month.
And we are more ready with our author names this month.
I did write down author names this time. And I even did some screenshots of some summaries of the books. So I'm prepared.
Good. Well, then you can start. What's your first one?
Okay. I've already got this downloaded, and I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all this is fanfic.
Oh
I know. So I don't know if the whole world realizes that Hermione was actually supposed to end up with Draco and not Ron. But
according to who?
According to the fanfic world. So there is a lot of Dramini fanfic, Draco Hermione. Yep. A whole bunch. So this is actually a free download. And it is, Jamie can't quit laughing. Y'all are both mean. Y'all are mean. Bullies. This is bully behavior. Okay.
Sorry, Carrie. No, carry on. This is good. There are people who love this stuff, right?
Yep.
Apparently.
Okay. Draco Malfoy and the mortifying ordeal of being in love. Okay.
Is this a real book?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this author, I don't know her real name. It's her pen name or whatever is this self-care. So I'm sure it was like a Wattpad book or something, but she did a short print run of this book.
Okay.
And now you can't buy it anywhere. And this book is hundreds of dollars on eBay. The print, like if someone has the print copy of it, hundreds of dollars.
Goodness gracious.
Yes. And then like people who, there's this big trend now where people buy like, they have like a Cricut or one of those little machines and they do their own book binding. Have you, do you ever see those TikToks where people bind their own books?
Yeah.
So if someone has done the book binding and made it a brand, you know, their own art or whatever,
right?
They're even more like on Etsy. They're so expensive.
Wow.
Just for this fanfic that's free to download online. I mean, the author has it out there free. So what it is, so Draco chose the better path in this fanfic, and he's an Aurer. I don't remember how to say that word. He's an Aurer.
However, this is the least of our troubles. Right?
And he does not, this is like an enemies to lovers. He really doesn't like Hermione.
Okay.
She's still got that like know-it-all, you know, vibe. And they remember that they hated each other in Hogwarts and all. But he's assigned to protect her because she's working on a very private, what is it? What's the word I'm looking for?
Like a case?
A classified case kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's very, very private, very protected. And he has to protect her because she's just so into her work that she doesn't utilize security. And so he has to, they've assigned him to protect her. And apparently they fall in love. Let's see what it says. See what Goodreads says about it so that you can continue to laugh.
No, I mean,
apparently it's really funny too, I guess. Okay. Hermione straddles the magical and non-magical worlds as a medical researcher and healer about to make a big discovery. Draco is an Aurer assigned to protect her from forces unknown to both of their displeasure. Features hyper-competent, fiery Hermione and lazy yet dangerous Draco. This is a slow burn. So apparently they hate each other for a lot of it. It's like enemies to lovers.
Okay.
No,
that sounds really good. Okay. My brain is going in 1,000 directions. So my mom listens to this, right? And she likes Harry Potter.
Oh, she's going to be brokenhearted to learn that no one wanted Hermione with Ron, isn't she?
Well, she's going to be more concerned about how to get this book. That's what troubles me is like, because she can't just go buy this. She can't get it. So tell our listeners how to access, how do you get this book? That actually does sound very, very interesting.
So I'm just going to look it up. Draco Malfoy. Okay. So when you type into your Google search, Draco Malfoy and the mortifying ordeal of being in love, it comes up this website, Archive of Our Own. And this is like a fandom website. And then it's just there. And you can click on the title and you have to agree that you understand this book has adult content. And then you download it. Or you can read it right here in the website. You can download it and it'll go into whatever book. Like on my phone, it went into my Apple Books.
Okay.
So if they're reading from an iPad, it would go into that app. I don't know what Android does, but yes. So and then they just read it on their device.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah,
that sounds interesting.
And apparently this book has like a cult following. And
how did you find out about it?
Because a lot of I kept seeing people, on Bookstagram, I see so much, and I kept seeing people reviewing it. And then an author that I really like, she actually, as a side hobby, book binds, and she was doing a giveaway she had it, and she did the book binding of it and was doing a big giveaway. Which
that's cool.
Quite generous.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Okay. So give us the name and author. Again.
Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love. And the author is, and it's all one word, is this self-care. but it's all squished together like a handle or something would be, like a screen name.
Okay, excellent. That sounds good. I do like, there are some things on Archive of Our Own that I've read before. I actually learned about it from my library kids because they were all reading and writing fanfic. So, okay, that's
apparently it's like a rom-com. There's like banter and humor and stuff.
Okay.
So,
okay. Carefully, I don't know how to say this. Archive of Our Own, if you've never been on there. So like, Mom, before you get on there, give me a call. There's some filters I'd like for you to put in place.
Oh, yeah. The only time I've been on there is to look up this book. So I don't know anything else about it.
Oh, you don't? Okay. Yeah, no, it is, it is a place of wonders.
Anything and everything can be found.
Yes. Yes. So just look carefully. Maybe just look this exact title
Just do
up.
Exactly what I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
one title search. Don't peruse the website. We cannot be held responsible for what you read. So what's up for you? What are you doing?
Well, this is, I don't know why I'm making fun of you, because you're going to hear the name of this and be like, well, yeah, of course it's this book. Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. It came out in September. It was an add-on from Book of the Month, but it's the one that was inspired by the Ted Bundy.
I have a friend that just finished it and she said it's fantastic.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Has your daughter read it yet?
No, she's considering going into her Colleen Hoover era.
Oh, really?
Because all her coworkers or classmates or whatever, they just pass around Colleen Hoover books, and she's considering going into that.
Okay.
And she knows that you can get them for free. They're widely available on library apps and stuff.
I was curious how she would feel about this being a fictionalized account too, because I know she likes, like true crime like I do. And actually, if this book had not reviewed as well as it has, I was I was a little hesitant. But so it's inspired by the Ted Bundy murders, and it's about the survivor of a serial killer attack on a sorority house. And she joins forces with someone across the country who believes that her friend was also his victim. So they kind of get together to try to catch him and bring him to justice.
It sounds so good.
It really does.
So the friend of mine who read it, we were talking about how he's almost like glamorized. And I don't know if it's because he's attractive or what. She didn't think he's attractive, but I think the general consensus is that people think he's good looking, and that's how he swayed people, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Especially back in the 70s.
Like, I mean, he for their standards and how guys looked in the 70s, he was attractive. And she said this book makes it very clear he was a monster. They don't glamorize him.
Okay.
So I found that interesting.
That is interesting. I was wondering how they would handle that.
Yeah.
So that's good to know. Okay. And this author, Jessica Knoll, also wrote The Luckiest Girl Alive, which has been made into a show on Netflix starring Mila Kunis, which I didn't know anything about. So, and I haven't read that book.
I had never heard of that show.
So that's Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll.
That's a good one. That's a good goal.
You're just saying that because I made fun of you, and now
no, I swear I'm
bad.
not. I swear I'm not. This because I want to read it too. I think it sounds very good.
Okay. What's your next one?
All right. So this past month, I discovered this fantasy writer. She's an indie author. I think her stuff is self-published. Madeline Elliott, and the series I just finished was the King and Coven series, and it's witchy and demon. It's to hunt a demon king, to break a demon curse, to wear a demon crown. It's fantasy. It's high fantasy. So I made it my whole personality. I'm not okay, Jamie. Okay, so in the third book, To Wear a Demon Crown, she's crowned the Demon Queen. And okay, so people listening don't realize this, but I'm a metalsmith. That's my actual job. So I make jewelry, I solder and wire wrap and all that. I stopped everything, all my work, and I handmade a crown that is supposed to look like the crown that the character, like I wire wrapped, I wire wrap real moonstones onto it. And yes. And,
this has been a podcast of revelation.
Yes.
Sorry.
So This because she's an indie author, she's not hugely known, she's not like widely known. So we messaged some, and I'm gonna mail her I'm giving her the crown.
Oh, that's so cool.
I know. So I mean, her character inspired my creativity. So I know, and I even maybe took some pictures of myself wearing the crown.
That I will need, please.
I will. Yes. So. I finished that series. I was going down a rabbit hole there. So I loved it so much that I want to go back and read her backlist.
Okay.
So I think her previous books were more cozy fantasy, where this one was probably a little bit more romance fantasy. So the one I'm going to do, is Queen of All Fae series. And it's also, I guess there's a theme here for October for me. It's also witchy. She's a witch.
How many books are in that series?
3.
Okay.
It's a 3-book series. And Madeline Elliott. But, oh God, I really made that my whole personality. I really did. That series, King of Coven. I think what also the covers are possibly the prettiest book covers I've ever seen. And I felt like when I bought the physical books, like I was putting artwork on my shelf.
Yeah.
And I totally judged the books by their covers. And then luckily the story was just as wonderful.
Oh, that is a beautiful cover.
Aren't they beautiful?
I just looked it up online. Yeah, That's gorgeous.
Yes.
Okay.
I even bought little stands off Amazon that make your book fall. I was like, well, I don't want the spines of the book all that shows. So they're almost like little easels, little clear acrylic easels.
Yeah.
And so those books are forward facing on my shelf. And maybe there's a crown perched atop one of the books. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the name and the author again?
Okay. So the series that's on my TBR for this month, it's by Madeline Elliott, and it's the Queen of All Fae series.
Okay.
And I already have them downloaded, ready.
Ready to go.
Ready to go. Yep.
Okay.
Ready.
The next book on my TBR list is The Great Believers by Rebecca Makkai. And I actually mentioned this one last month because it's by the same person as I Have Some Questions for You, which I promise I'll stop talking about eventually. But this book of hers was released in June of 2019, and it was a finalist for both the Pulitzer Prize and the National Book Award, and it was a winner of the Stonewall Book Award.
Oh.
And there's 2 intertwining stories. It starts with a man named Yale, who is a development director of an art gallery in Chicago, and it's during the AIDS epidemic, and the AIDS crisis keeps getting closer and closer to him, and eventually his friend Nico dies from AIDS, and Yale is the only person from their friend group who's left. And really the only person he has left, period, is Nico's little sister, Fiona. So the other part of the novel, it takes place 30 years later, and Fiona has gone to Paris to try to find her daughter who has joined a cult. And she's staying with an old friend who was a photographer in Chicago during the AIDS crisis, and he documented all of that. And it's about basically her coming to terms with the AIDS epidemic and how it affected her life and her relationships, and even specifically her relationship with her daughter, who's now in this cult. So,
that sounds fantastic.
It sounds like a lot. Sounds like I'm going to want to read some fan fiction
in between.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with this term, but a lot of people, when you read heavy books or books that require a lot of mental oomph, you need a palate cleanser in between.
Okay.
So something just light and fun, or you need fanfic in between. That would be your palate cleanser.
It sure would. That sounds, I may have to do that.
Yeah.
So that was The Great Believers by Rebecca Makkai.
All right.
What's your next one?
All right. So my next one. So this is one of my auto-buy authors. I love her. I've read all her books. I have multiple copies of her books. Olive E. Blake. And it just came out, Masters of Death. And so I'm just going to read the synopsis because her books usually are kind of, I don't know. Her book, I think she may be a genius or something. Her books have a lot to them. They're fantastically written. Okay. It's a story about vampires, ghosts, and death itself. Viola Merrick is a struggling real estate agent and a vampire, but her biggest problem currently is that the house she needs to sell is haunted. The ghost haunting the house has been murdered, and until he can solve the mystery of how he died, he refuses to move on. Fox DeMora is a medium, and though is almost most definitely a shameless fraud. That was very bad grammar there. He isn't entirely without his issues, seeing as he's actually the godson of death. When Viola seeks out Fox to help her with her ghost-infested mansion, he becomes inextricably involved in a quest that neither he nor Vi expect or want. But with the help of an unruly poltergeist, a demonic personal trainer, a sharp-voiced angel, a love-stricken reaper, and a few high-functioning creatures, Vi and Fox soon discover the difference between a mysterious lost love and an annoying dead body.
That sounds good. Is it a series or is it a standalone?
Standalone. She doesn't really. She wrote the Atlas 6. It is a series, but her books are great. Every book I've ever read by her is fantastic.
I saw this at Barnes and Noble not too long ago, and the cover was very intriguing. Because that's why I was like, when you said Olive E. Blake, I was like, I know the name for some reason.
Well, you know, I have the obsession with Alone with You in the Ether.
Yes.
All that. So that's the same author. But when you read her books,
okay,
they make you feel like you're really smart.
Okay.
Like she uses very flowery language and like big words and that no one actually uses in real life. And a lot of good quotes come from her books.
Okay.
Before she became a writer, she was a lawyer. So I guess she's probably read a lot of good quality literature. She was a lawyer and quit to write.
Okay. And that's Masters of Death.
Masters of Death by Olive E. Blake.
Okay.
Yes. I'm excited about it. Obviously, I have a theme going here for Halloween and all. It's the perfect season. And I honestly, there's a lot of books I don't think I could read any other time of the year.
Really?
Yeah, like a lot of witchy stuff and all. I feel like it's very much an October, November vibe for me.
So you don't read any Christmas romances before?
Only Christmas.
Okay.
Only November and December.
Okay.
Maybe the first week of January, and then I can't feel it. I'm out.
See, I just live in chaos. I would read this stuff just year round.
You would do Christmas in July or
Yeah.
Christmas in... Maybe Christmas in July I could do out of just... because it's Christmas in July.
Yeah.
And that's a thing.
It's an established thing.
Yeah. No, I'm very regimented in my seasonal reads.
Okay. Well, my next one is California Golden by Melanie Benjamin. I have no idea. Excuse me. I have no idea where I heard about this book. I put it in a to-do list, which is how I run my entire life. And it just said California Golden, Melanie Benjamin, which means I saw it on the internet somewhere or came through a book review about it and thought it sounded good. And then immediately forgot that I made the note. So I looked into it and it came out in August. And it's the same author who wrote The Aviator's Wife. That was the only other book of hers that I recognized. But Entertainment Weekly said that it basically pairs like the surf culture of the Beach Boys with the sex, drugs, and rock and roll aspect of Daisy Jones and the Six. And it takes place in Southern California in the 60s. So I was like,
so it's all the same vibe.
It's everything that I like. Yeah.
Fun.
Excuse me. And it follows Carol Donnelly, who is a female surfer during this time period. So she's kind of breaking the mold of what is expected of women. And she's in a male-dominated sport. And she has two daughters. And the two daughters you watch them having they have to grow up with a celebrity mother. And you see the effect that has on their lives and how it affects like the path that they choose. And having like an unconventional female role model may not always be the easiest thing in the world. Which all of that to say... They mentioned, Entertainment Weekly compares it to Daisy Jones and the Six, but all of that makes me think about Malibu Rising. It sounds like it's almost closer to that. It's just a little bit flipped. But it may just be the surfing reference is what's making me think about that. But yeah, that's California Golden by Melanie Benjamin.
Oh, that sounds good. That sounds fun. Okay, that could be your palate cleanser.
Yeah, it could, I think. Yeah.
Okay. So my next one... And we're going to stick with my theme I've got going here, but hold up. All right. I had to find my summary. It's by Hillary Burton Morgan. Isn't that an actress?
That is Jeffrey Dean Morgan's wife.
Oh, yes. Okay.
What has she written?
So it's a nonfiction book, Grimoire Girl, a memoir of magic and mischief. And it comes out, it's not out yet. It comes out October 3rd. And I think it just sounds absolutely beautiful.
Mischief is the name of their farm.
Okay. So since childhood, Hillary Burton Morgan has felt the call to record, keep, and catalog life in all its strange wonder. It was a whimsical habit with no clear goal. And then when she became a mother, the importance of all that collecting snapped into focus. What inheritance can I give these children that is true and loving and lasting? What will stay with them long after I'm gone? In an effort to patchwork together an anthology of traditions and magical thinking that she could pass down, she realized she was crafting a grimoire. Perhaps the words bring to mind witches, but that's not far off. A grimoire was the tangible collection of a lifetime of learning. So this is kind of, so like it's full, it says it's full of her wisdom, records the people, places, and ideas, and the habits of the people around her that have made up her life. So, and apparently some simple spells do follow each chapter.
Interesting.
I just think it just sounds beautiful to me.
Yeah, I think she's a really cool person too. I follow her on Instagram, and yeah, she does a lot. She does a lot of things, like a lot of earthy, natural type.
And it ends, this synopsis ends with, what wisdom will be written on the pages of your grimoire? And I thought, what a fun challenge that would be to start writing all, for your children.
Yeah,
just things about life that you might have forgotten to, I don't know, tell them about your family or your upbringing or.
Yeah.
That'll
be a real gift.
I'm excited. And it has supplemental PDFs that accompany the audiobook. I will probably listen to the audiobook, but I bet it comes with like her spells and stuff.
Okay.
Not that I'm going to be casting it. I mean, I might wear
make you a crown.
I might
cast you some spells.
I think it just sounds fascinating. Hillary, yes. Grimoire Girl by Hillary Burton Morgan.
Okay.
I'm very excited about it. And it comes out October 3rd.
Okay.
And I've got it pre-ordered and ready.
So right around the corner.
I know. I mean, that's Tuesday.
Yeah.
I feel like September flew by faster than a lot of months do.
Yeah. Well, I'll do a nonfiction one next, too. I am so excited to read Sure, I'll Join Your Cult, a memoir of mental illness and the quest to belong anywhere by Marie. Is it Marie or Maria? I think this may have spell checked this incorrectly. Bamford. And it came out in September. And we've got, everywhere has got like a gigantic hold on it. And it's, it's selling really quickly in the bookstores and stuff. So it's been really well received. But she is a stand-up comedian. And the book is about her life in show business and her struggles with mental health and the comfort that we find in rigid belief systems. And some of the examples that they give are Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Richard Simmons.
Oh,
because remember he
sweating to the oldies.
It was its own little cult back in the day, and 12-step programs. But she suffered from eating disorders, and I listened to an interview with her, and she talked about. It sounded like she did have pretty severe OCD. And she's been institutionalized before, and she's been to tons of support groups. So she talks about all of that and like how she kept going and how working with the arts, like either I guess could make that better or worse, at different times in your life. So
that sounds good.
Yeah, I think it's going to be super good. So
I'm sure there's an element of humor.
Yes, yeah,
because she's a comedian.
Really funny. She was just on Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. And it was like, she's one of those people where like they talked for 15 minutes before the podcast could even start because she was just like riffing on everything. And it wasn't annoying. Sometimes it annoys me. I'm just like, get to the interview. But she was really funny.
Oh, that sounds so good.
So that is, I was right. It's okay. Sure, I'll Join Your Cult, a memoir of mental illness and the quest to belong anywhere by Maria Bamford.
Oh, yes. I want to add that to my TBR.
That's what's going to happen is our lists are just going to get even
They're
more
going to
longer.
spiral.
Yeah.
Yeah, because right now I have Vladimir downloaded on
Shut up.
Libby. That was from last month's episode
Yeah.
with the cringy cover, and the Libby version is the cringy cover.
Is it?
Yeah, the hairy
Okay.
chested gold chain man.
Well, I hope you can pull your eyes away from the golden
know.
chain across around his neck. And
I know.
are you gonna, you'll make your husband a gold chain. You'll
I
have your
will.
crown, and you can make him a gold chain.
That's what I should do.
And you'll just be a literary family.
I don't know what to think of that. So I have to tell our listeners, my daughter is here with us, and I just noticed that she sent me a text that said, "Tell the listeners about your dagger." So I'm a creative, like I'm crafty, like I make crafts a lot, and so I used a letter opener. And I wanted a dagger to go with my fantasy books. And I've got like air dry clay, and I crafted my own little dagger to match another book character's dagger. Yeah.
So weapons.
I have a dagger and a crown.
Okay.
It's more of a tiara, but it's definitely a dagger. Well, I mean, it's a letter opener, obviously, but
That's great.
this episode sure has taken a turn.
No, that's really cool how because when I get obsessed with a book, all I do is think about it all the time, and then just
You don't
think
make
about
crowns
it.
and daggers?
You are using this. You're turning this into art.
Mhm.
So I commend you.
It's just how I am.
Yeah.
It's just my brain.
Yeah.
So
Also, you know what? You're already one of my favorite people for being so funny. But when your daughter is sitting across the table from me and we are getting tickled at the exact same things that you were saying in all seriousness, it is really fun.
my children, they keep me humble. Definitely.
So was that a book? Were we even talking about a book at that point, or we just
No,
we
I
just went
just-
Vladimir?
we-
Okay,
yeah,
so it's your
yeah.
turn. Sorry.
Vladimir is on my TBR for this month. Okay, so a next book, and this is checked out on my Libby right now. I don't know. Back in the Twilight time when everybody was obsessed with Twilight.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Stephanie Meyer wrote another book, The Host, and it was like an alien. I don't remember much about it. Okay. Well, I loved it when it came out. Probably about 15 years ago. Loved it. So I want to read it again and see if it holds the same appeal. Like 28-year-old brain versus my 42-year-old brain.
Yeah.
Am I going to love it this time around? But it's she's abducted by aliens. I remember that about it. I don't remember a lot. I'm kind of going to go in blind, and I'm assuming it'll come back to me. But apparently it was good enough to also be made into a movie, and the movie was people say better than Twilight.
Okay.
But it didn't take much to be better than Twilight, the movie,
Right.
because it's cringy. But
It may be now, but man, when all that was being
I
released
liked it.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So The Host by Stephanie Meyer, and
Okay.
it's an alien. She's abducted, and I do remember there was an element of romance. I don't think that was the main part of the story, though. There's like a government issues, and I'm not being very helpful with this review, am I?
No, yeah, no. we haven't read these books.
I
Well,
know.
I guess you have,
I
but you
have,
haven't
but I
read it
don't
in years and
remember.
years. So
My oldest is almost 20, and she was 3 when I read it.
okay, so it's been a minute.
It's been a minute. Yep.
Okay.
So
The Host by Stephanie Meyer.
yes, and I actually bought the physical copy off eBay for like I don't know why they even bothered for like $2 with free shipping.
Oh my goodness.
I know. I'm like, why did you even bother putting that on eBay?
Yeah.
But so I'm ready. I have it on my shelf, ready to go.
Okay.
The Host.
My next one, this is a book. Okay, so at holidays, my aunt and I get together and we just start quick firing books back and forth at each other because we both read, we both enjoy thrillers,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of times, like what we read, it doesn't cross over. Like, I don't think she likes hers to be like super duper intense like I do. But she has brought a book up to me like twice now. And I finally am like, I think I am going to read that. But it's called Murder at the Breakers.
Oh.
And it is a Gilded Newport Mysteries. It's from this #1 in the series. And it's it's historical fiction, which sometimes I love and sometimes I'm not sure about. But it takes place at the Vanderbilt family home in Newport, Rhode Island. And it is, Anderson Cooper is a member of the Vanderbilt family. So this is where like he vacationed when he was a kid. So it's set in 1895 and there is a second cousin of the family who's not as like well-heeled as the rest of the family. And she's been invited to this event and she's undercover as a journalist.
Oh.
Yeah. And while she's there, somebody gets murdered. So it's like she's trying to solve the mystery and I don't know, it's like torn between two worlds type thing. So, but if you like, I've read that if you like Downton Abbey or The Gilded Age, if you like either of those shows, which I loved Downton Abbey, that this is a good book. And it is Murder at the Breakers by Alyssa Maxwell. And it's an older book. It came out in 2014.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
So what time period is it set? You said historical.
1895.
Oh, okay. Oh, that sounds fantastic. All right. I'm going to jump over to a couple of my ARCs, which, like I said, were ARCs are advanced readers copies, and you get them and you review them before they come out for authors. So this one is, I think it is a thriller. Actually, I know it's a thriller. Ashley Winstead, she also wrote In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, which apparently people love. I started it and just could not get into it.
So you have not made the knife? You have not made a replica of the, okay.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I know.
So it's not funny.
So I didn't make the knife because it's like I want to like at least one character, and I got about 30% in and I still didn't like anybody, and I need someone to root for.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, I just couldn't get into it. So I'm hoping this one's better, but this is Midnight is the Darkest Hour by Ashley Winstead. Says it's a twisted tale of murder, obsessive love, and the beastly urges that lie dormant within us all. And it's set in Louisiana. Librarian Ruth Cornier has always felt like an outsider, even as her beloved father rains fire and brimstone warnings from his Holy Fire Baptist. Unfortunately for Ruth, the only thing the townspeople fear more than the God and the devil are the myths that haunt the area, like the story of the Low Man, a vampiric figure said to steal into people's bedrooms and kill them. I don't know.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
So it's like a gothic thriller.
Yeah.
Sounds like. I tend to think that anything set in Louisiana is going to have a gothic vibe.
Yeah.
But I'm excited about this, even though I couldn't get into her previous one. Mm-hmm. Her books always are very well received and people tend to love them, which I also think, this says it's for fans of A Flicker in the Dark and Verity.
Ooh. Yeah.
I liked A Flicker in the Dark a lot. I could not do Verity. It scared me. So I might get scared in this one. We'll see.
Oh, I need to read Verity then.
It scared me.
Okay.
Like I closed the book like hard. I was like, nope. and it was like, there was this one moment and I could do no more.
Wow.
But I scare easily. I scare so easily. So don't.
Okay.
And you read Stephen King, you'll be fine.
So what's the name of this one?
This one, I'm sorry, I jumped off course. Midnight is the Darkest Hour by Ashley Winstead.
Okay.
And I find it funny that she writes gothic, horror, thriller, but she also writes rom-coms.
Huh, interesting.
So she taps into like two vibes, two totally different vibes. I don't know. I find that interesting. You don't see that.
You don't.
Ever.
Yeah, you really don't. You really don't. Well, I'm going to do one more, and then I do think we're going to split this episode up into two different parts so we don't just overwhelm everybody with just lists and lists of books. So my last book for this part, I found this by mistake today looking for something else, but on October 10th, Madonna, A Rebel Life by Mary Gabriel will be released.
Oh.
And it is a biography of Madonna. And I usually do not read biographies. I like autobiographies because I like to know that the information is coming from the person of source.
Mm-hmm.
And this does not even say authorized, and I don't care. I have waited for this book my entire life. It is 880 pages.
Are you kidding
long.
me?
Yes, I will stop everything to read this. This will be like a spare situation for me.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah, this is what I'll do that whole week. Like, this will be a book. I will read this 880 page book in like 3 days. Like, I can't finish, a 400 page book in 3 months, but this one I will blaze through. And then I will know everything.
I wonder
I've
how
ever
much
wanted
of
to know.
it is approved by Madonna.
Probably absolutely none of it. But
Wow.
Mary Gabriel has written some other biographies, and she's pretty well acclaimed. So that means in my head she does her research. So I'm not saying I'm going to believe every word of the book, but it's going to be extremely entertaining for 880
Oh, that
pages.
sounds so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I'm excited. So that's Madonna, A Rebel Life by Mary Gabriel, and it comes out October 10th. Okay, so we will wrap up this part. This is part one
Part
of 2
one.
parts. This is our first 2-parter. I don't even really know how to do this,
I
but
know.
we'll just
Be continued.
to be continued in a couple of weeks. You can look out for the part 2 episode of our To Be Read List podcast here at Check Your Shelf on the Alabama Take Network. Until we see you, no, I will edit that out. We're not seeing anybody. This is a podcast.
Until next time.
Until next time, thank you for listening.